Fantasy Blind Spot, where we shine the light on what you can't see. He's a cornerstone piece. He's a guy you're going to want on your fantasy team.
It's all about them splash plays.
Oh my God, did that just happen? I can't believe he made that catch.
He's got that big play ability.
The football gods made this guy to play football.
All right, so he's just an explosive runner. He's one of those guys that when he gets in the open space, he just puts his foot in the ground and he's gone.
Right. What's up? What's up? Welcome into Fantasy Blind Spot, where we shine light on things you can't see. I am the Blind Guy. You can find me on X at the Blind Guy FF. With me, as always, my co-host, the crazy Canadian Shawn Thompson. You can find him on X at Maximus8911. Thanks everybody for listening. Remember to hit that like and subscribe. How you doing, bud?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Not too bad. It's a Wednesday. We get to talk some ball, and there's actually news around this time of year because we got training camp starting up and stuff. So getting into it.
Lots of stuff going on in the football world, but Trevor Lawrence cut his hair off.
Well, that's news.
Yeah. Well, the Jaguars too. They've made it into a wig. What he cut off, and now they're auctioning off Trevor Lawrence's wig hair for charity.
Well, that's one way to raise some money, I guess, and they need to since they had that guy steal what, $6 million from him or something like that.
Oh, I think it was up over 20, wasn't it?
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, just freaking nuts. But who knows? And then the EU yesterday. Did you see what they voted?
Banning 16-year-olds from all social media. Is that the one you're talking about?
That they did a while ago. It's just the countries are starting to come up. So the EU the EU is basically this committee of European descent with all the countries from Europe having members into it. So just because the EU has passed this, it's just this is what we want to do as a union of Europe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Type of thing. But each country still has to come and do it. So it's like a little UN basically had to look at it, but only for Europe.
Right.
So yesterday they voted to have mass deportation and then in quotations, Trump style. And they're the number one people who have been criticizing Trump for friggin' ICE has been coming from Europe.
That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, I
got to keep moving the goalposts, but that's funny.
Oh, I thought so. Like I said, the countries still have to come out and do it with their own countries, but this is a suggestion that the EU's friggin' doing. Nice. And then, frig, man, did you see that viral clip of that girl in Brazil going bungee jumping?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh my God. So she's on this abandoned bridge and there's these two workers and you see a harness. It's them and they pick her up like Superman style and they go out on this wood plank and then they just toss her off, toss her overboard basically. Yeah. But they forgot to tie the safety rope to her.
Oops.
So obviously she died. She was like in her 40s. But then these two guys, as soon as they realized it when she hit the ground, they took off their safety harnesses, started running, booked off into the forest. They brought in helicopters and police on and dogs on motorcycles and four-wheelers and stuff and had to track these guys down. They ended up finding them, but such a crazy story from beginning to end.
Kidding.
Everything about it, right? Like normally people would be like, oh shit, we fucked up and just kind of go
right.
with it, right? Like whatever comes with it, but to run away.
Yeah, even if you're not guilty, you look guilty now because you ran. But also, if you're that girl, you never even realize that that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because when you're bungee jumping, I don't know that. Well, I've never done it, but I'd imagine that you don't feel it start to slow down until you're at like the end, as close to the ground as you're going to be, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like she'd have no freaking clue. But yeah, man, I've never been bungee jumping either because I'm scared of heights. But I tell you, if I ever did, that would be one of the height things I would do. I would be like, hey, man, I'm not strapped in. Let me check this harness up here to make sure. You know what? It's good. Like, I know that's your job. I need to see it for myself as well.
Right. So I don't think I could ever get myself to go bungee jumping, but I have jumped out of a plane before and gone skydiving, and that was fun. But that's another one. Like, you can't check that for yourself. It's fully in trust. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't do that one. Like, there's no way I would even know how to check a fucking parachute.
Yeah, exactly. What was funny too is like we're walking in, and of course they're packing all the parachutes again, and they're practicing that because they do it all the time. But we walk in there, and there's like this 12-year-old packing parachutes. I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, he's jumped like 300 sometimes. He knows what he's doing. Trust me, we wouldn't let him do it if he didn't. I'm like, okay. Sure enough, it was a great time, but it was crazy. Some of those kids, man, real young, getting into it early.
I couldn't jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Oh, see, that's the other funny part. As we're getting onto it, there's parts of it that have duct tape. So anytime somebody makes that joke, you're like, well, what if there's duct tape holding some of the
So-
wing together? You still gonna jump out? Because I am.
That is not duct tape. It looks
Arrow
like
tape?
duct tape. Yeah, it's arrow tape. It looks exactly
Hmm.
like duct tape, but it's like stronger than duct tape.
That
Because
makes sense.
I've seen a lot of reels lately of people like, oh my god, they're using duct tape on the plane, and then I've seen like
Yeah.
the airlines come out and be like, no, it's actually arrow tape. It's the same color as duct
Yep.
tape.
It
Different.
does look like it though, for sure.
Oh yeah, it'd freak you out if you didn't know, right? And that's just
Oh, yeah.
something I've recently learned. All right.
I'd imagine they just changed, like, instead of string that's inside of duct tape, it's probably some reinforced metal or something like that.
Yeah, it has to be something, right? Because you get a lot of people's lives and you're up there in the air, and who knows when that plane would go down if it's duct tape.
Yep. Right.
All right. Well, let's get into some topics here. We got the 70s QB pyramid. So we get that called up here. So just 1970s quarterbacks. They got 5 tiers. So on the first tier, they got Roger Staubach and Terry Bradshaw.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's where they have to be. Terry's got 4 Super Bowls. Only Joe Montana and Tom Brady can match that. So I don't see how you don't have him up there. And like I said, he was on my Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks when we did that.
Yep, we talked about that.
He is majorly disrespected as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I agree. He's also living his best life. I don't know if you saw him on Rogan, but he's got his own bourbon company, and he's sitting there smoking cigars, drinking his own 20-year bourbon. He's doing good.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? And then you got to have Roger up there because he changed the game. He's part of the invention of the Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the second tier, we got probably my favorite quarterback from this time, just because of smoking on the sidelines and stuff. Ken Stabler, Frank Tarkenton, and Bob Greasy from the Dolphins.
Greasy is one that gets brought up. I don't know that he's necessarily respected as much as he should be. But then on the other side, Fran Tarkenton kind of changed the quarterback position. He's one of the ones that started running first, right?
Yep. One of the old guys that did it. Then in tier 3, they got Joe Theismann, which I'm surprised he's that far down. Dan Feltz, Roman Gabriel, and Brent Jones.
Got to admit, Roman Gabriel is not a name that I knew before.
Nope. Me neither. He played for the Rams. Then the 4th tier guys, they've got Steve Groen, Craig Morton, which was the guy that was backing up Roger Staubach when Roger came back for the war. Jim Hart of the Cardinals, Archie Manning, and Terry.
With the Saints.
Yep. Terry, I want to say Hardity? Something like that. Archie Manning, man. If you would take Archie Manning's passes, I saw this once, and all the drops that his wide receivers had and turn those drops into catches, he probably gets up to the second tier because his completion pass percentage goes something from like 56% to 70%.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's one thing, like looking back at those games, that's something that actually stands out watching it too. It's like, oh, there's another drop. Well, that kills the drive. And he never had offensive line protection either. That's why he ran so much.
Oh, yeah.
And because he was good at it.
Yep. And then the 5th tier here, people could see it, but there's really nobody on there that I think is worth mentioning. Joe Ferguson, backup for Frank Tarkenton, probably the best one here. Can't really see too much there. But we can go on.
Just the leftover names then?
Yeah, basically.
Just basically everybody that played in the 70s.
Yep. And then we got most career wins by a quarterback pyramid. So obviously in the first tier, we got Tom Brady, 251. I think that's going to be hard to beat because right behind him is Peyton Manning with 200. And that's the next guy. So 51 wins behind him. And
which
Manning played pretty long too.
Just for some context, that's 3 undefeated seasons.
Yeah.
In wins.
You're going to have to play at least 4 years longer than what Brady did.
Yeah.
And do as well in the career that you're having.
Right. It's just crazy.
So then the second tier, which they call legendary winners, the first tier is called the winning goats. We got Brett Favre with 186, Drew Brees 172, and Ben Roethlisberger 165. I never would have guessed Big Ben would have been in the top 5.
Oh, yeah. They had some good seasons, man. And if you remember his rookie season, they made it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I know that. I know he had a good career. I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. It's just If you're telling me you can pick through all these quarterbacks that have ever played in the NFL, which ones have the top 5 quarterback wins, like wins as a quarterback, I don't think I have Ben Roethlisberger even the top 10.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe that's just because I was so close to it. I mean, I was watching his whole career, right?
Yeah.
So,
probably.
and we're still looking for his replacement, honestly. So,
hey, that's why people pick quarterbacks so much, because you can't. It's hard to find a replacement.
And then one aspect to think about too, though, is that his whole career has been 16 or 17 game season, and some of these other guys, it was still 12, 14 when you start getting far enough back. So even if they played 20 years, you're talking a significantly less number of games that you have a chance to win.
Yeah, and we do have some guys on here that have the 12 games. So
okay,
we'll get to the third tier. All-time greats is what they're calling it. There's 4 people on this one. So each tier goes up a little bit.
All right.
Start with 2, 3. So this one has 4. We got Aaron Rodgers with 153, and then there's a plus because he's still playing. John Elway, 148. Dan Marino, 147. And Phillip Rivers at 134. And Rivers is another guy, just like Ben Roethlisberger, I wouldn't have up in the top 10 either.
Yeah, I guess I mean, I thought the Chargers had winning seasons. I didn't realize it necessarily went up to 130 for Rivers. But then you also got to remember how long he played. I think the interesting part, too, is Rodgers with his, what'd you say, 153?
Yep.
Yeah, so the only way he catches Big Ben is an amazing season.
No, he 153 to 165. That's only 12 touchdowns.
Wins. You think the Steelers can win 12
wins? Yeah. Oh, that's right. I don't know why I had touchdowns in my head. Wins, yeah. Wins, yeah. That's tough. So he doesn't do it then. I don't think they'd have to have a great year.
Right. That's what I mean. And it's also under McCarthy, and we saw how it ended in Green Bay. Maybe they put it all past him, but also does Rodgers have that ability, like with his arm?
If the Steelers made all these moves and still had Tomlin, I think he would have a chance.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, it's just I don't have the same faith in McCarthy that I had in Tomlin. So.
No, neither do I. We'll get to the 4th tier here. It's called the Champions and Stars. So Matt Ryan, 124. Frank Tarkenton, 12-game guy, 124. Russell Wilson, 121. Terry Bradshaw, 12-game guy, 107. Patrick Mahomes at 100 plus because he's still going.
Right. That's kind of crazy to me. Some of those names on there. Like, did you say Matt Ryan was 120 some?
Yep. 124.
Yeah, I think to me that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, again, like another one. He goes into that with Big Ben and Phillip Rivers, right? Just didn't expect those numbers to creep up like that. But Patrick Mahomes, I think he's got a shot to get up there and pass at least Manning. I don't know how long he's going to play. You got to play a long time to pass Brady.
Do you think that Andy Reid sticks around until Mahomes is done? Or do you think it's kind of like the Brady situation where eventually the two part and it's who did it?
Mahomes, I think Reid's going to be the one to go first.
Yep. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Because he's so old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the final tier we got here is historic icons. Joe Montana, 117. Eli Manning, 117. Jim Kelly, 100. Steve Young, 94. Aikman, 94. And Roger Staubach, 85.
Wow. Tails off real quick.
Oh, yeah.
For a number of wins. And that's when you start talking about those number of games, right? So even if you made a Super Bowl run.
Year, man, those are some great freaking quarterbacks. But to be an amazing historical figure, it takes a lot at that position.
Absolutely. And that's not even 100 wins. So it's just crazy.
Yep. All right. So the next one we wanted to talk about here was the Russian touchdown kings. So it starts off obviously with the number 1 with LT 2006 year with 28 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that could you imagine that being topped? How many touchdowns does your team have to score?
40? Well, he had 31 50? That year because he had a couple of receiving touchdowns too.
I think it was 3. I think the total was 31. Yeah,
but didn't he have over 50% of his team's touchdowns?
Yeah. I think that's the only way that happens.
Oh, it has to be and I think you have to be a running back to get up to this high. I don't think you'll ever see a wide receiver.
Oh, no chance.
It'd be tough. Then the second one we have here, there's a tie. There's the 2003 Priest Holmes year. And then the 2005 Shawn Alexander year, who we just talked about a couple episodes ago, saying how underrated he was.
Yep. And both incredible seasons. And that was I think the season for Shawn Alexander that really kind of started to change that Seahawks franchise, right?
Yeah,
Because that was the year after he was traded, I think.
Yep. And then Pete Carroll started getting them to the Super Bowls, and the Legion of Boom formed, and they got them down the right way. Fourth is Emmitt Smith from the 1995 season with 25 of them, but that team was super stacked.
Yeah, I was going to say that was his big season too.
I don't even know what his
probably his career year,
like 15 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Mid-teens. Fifth, we got John Riggins, who was fun to watch back in '83. If anyone ever wants to go back and watch some gritty old footage, he's got 24, which was crazy back in 1983 to do.
Yeah, there was probably a lot of teams that weren't scoring 24 touchdowns at that time.
Nope. We got 3 or 4 guys, I think, on this list from 1990 on. So shows you how rare it is for it. Then we got Priest Holmes again, tied for 6th from the 2002 season with 21. And that's why Priest Holmes dominated fantasy for 2 years.
And that's why everybody's also trying to chase that Andy Reid running back, right? Is they're hoping that they can find another chief back like Priest Holmes. Well, that's what I'm saying is they're trying to chase that next chief running back like Priest Holmes.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get it. Not with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the worst players or coaches to develop running backs. Like he got lucky with Kareem Hunt, and then Kareem Hunt just screwed it up by going and beating his girlfriend up.
Kicking her on the floor.
Oh, I guess tied with that Priest Holmes season, we got Terrell Davis, the 1998 21. Terry Allen in 96, 21. Emmitt Smith in 94 with 21. And then Joe Morris for the Giants in 85, 21.
Well, there you go. You did say Emmitt Smith twice.
Yep.
I didn't think he had 2 seasons of 20-plus touchdowns, but
hey, no, neither did I. It was right there in front of me. I should have saw the stupid star. Then at 11th, we got Larry Johnson, 2005 with 20. That's crazy. The Chiefs went like wasn't their coach Marty Schottenheimer?
I think it was right after Dallas, right? When him and Dallas separated.
I think so.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
That's like a good 3-year stretch. 2002, 2003, 2005. So what happened in 2004?
Right.
Then we got
injuries.
So then last here, tied for 12th, we got Earl Campbell in 79 with 19. Chuck Munchie in 81 with 19. And then Jim Taylor for the Packers in 1962 with 19.
That's a lot of big touchdown seasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially in 12 games.
Oh, for sure. Especially 19 and 12 games. Like, that's just, you're talking crazy town. I don't think we see that level of running back dominance. And even with the league going more run heavy, we're seeing more committees because the league is so brutal.
Yeah, like I think we're lucky if we see 15 touchdowns from a running back now. But we can move on and we'll go to the defensive side of the ball. So right here we got interception kings based on divisions. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. They only did 6 divisions here. So we got AFC North. Leads that is Rod Woodson for the Steelers with 71. Ken Riley from the Bengals with 65. Ed Reed from the Ravens with 64. And then Mel Blount with 57.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of interceptions. I feel like that's going to be higher than most divisions, but I could be wrong.
I think it's a higher average, but there is higher numbers.
Okay.
It would be close, I think. AFC South, they've only got Bobby Boyd for the Colts with 57. AFC West has two Chiefs, Emmett Thomas with 58 and Johnny Robinson with 57. Then the NFC East, we got the Giants with Emmanuel Tunnel with 79, which is crazy for back then.
Yeah, that's a ton.
The Cowboys, Everson Walls with 57, and the Commanders with Pat Fisher with 56. Then we go into the NFC North. Paul Kraus from the Vikings with 81 interceptions. That is insane.
Why are you still throwing at that guy at that point?
Yeah.
Because how many teams are really throwing a ton back then, too?
Oh, frig, not a lot. Like, you got to be
hey, like, what was the average pass attempts? Like 20 at most?
At most, yeah. I think 15 to 20 somewhere.
That's just
Then we
crazy.
got Dick Night Train Lane, the guy who we have the face
Mhm.
mask rule for, has 68. Charles
Yeah, that's a
Woodson
lot
for the
too.
Packers, 65. Darren Sharper for the Packers, 63. Dick LeBeau, 62 for the Lions. And Lem Barney for the Lions, 56. Then
So the North, AFC and NFC North, getting themselves some interceptions.
yep. Which they're two divisions too that like to run the ball more than anything too, right? Like
Yeah,
I get the
kind of
Bengals right
crazy.
now are pass happy because of Burrows, but they're mostly a run team.
Yep, in the past they had been.
Then the last one we got for the NFC West, we got Ronnie Lott with 63, Dave Brown with 62, Enrique Robinson with 57, and Arnelius Williams for the Cardinals with 55.
Yeah, he's one I remember seeing, not a lot, but part of his career towards the end too. He was a fun player, especially in Madden too, because he was always around the ball. He had that ball hawk ability.
Yep,
That
that
was a
was
fun one.
great. I saw something too post. I'm like, God, I forgot about that guy. But Chris Borland, man, for the 49ers, remember him?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't remember watching him.
He had 1 year and then he retired at the age of 24. Only did his
Jeez.
rookie season. And in 2014, he had 107 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble recovery on 8 starts, and then retired. His whole thing is, I just want to get to the NFL. I want to see if I could make it. I don't want to hurt my body. I'm going to make money for a year to get my life started, get my business going, and then I'm going to leave. And that's exactly what this guy did. He didn't tell anyone through the whole draft process other than his family. And then after that year, he retired. Like as soon as his last game was done, the next day he was in there putting in his retirement papers.
That's just crazy. And in 8 games, like
yeah,
that.
He did
That's also
some spot play too. Before those, it was just 8 starts.
Yeah, that's crazy. And to think about how close that family has to be too, to not let that get out, because you know how invasive the draft process was. Maybe not at that point, I guess. But like the way it is now, your whole family, you have to have everybody that is a super close family that's like, no, we're not going to let anybody know that he plans on retiring right away.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that guy
Crazy.
could have been great. Like, and this was like the year after that Glenn Coffey had just retired.
Oh yeah, he was another one flash in the pan, right?
The Niners went through a 3-year stint where we had players retire after we draft them. They play 1 or 2 years and then just gone. It's like, what the hell? But I'll
What is
blame
going
Trent
on?
Blakey because he's a
Oh, it's
fucking
possible, because that was his time, right?
Yep. Stupid fucking
Crazy.
GM that he is. But anyways, let's get in, talk some ball.
Yes, sir.
Time for the Grape Light, where we discuss what's happening around the league.
All right, we're into the Grape Light where we're going to talk about some news, and we've got some crazy news going on with Brandon Sorsby. It gets all cleared to play the college, and then he goes, here's the outcry coming from everybody, the fans probably, other coaches, even Prime Times, giving his thoughts on it lately, and he's decided to enter the NFL supplementary draft to end all that.
Yeah, and I think this had to be a decision that came from him and his family and everything. Just like, okay, this outcry is just not worth it. Like, just to sum it up a little more, the Big 12 then started to sue, saying, hey, don't we have the right to enforce our own policy? And there was 2 teams out of the SEC. I think Georgia was one, and I believe Ole Miss was the other one, who said, like, okay, we're just not going to schedule Texas Tech in the future or ever again with the way this is going. And so I think Sorsby was just like, all right, well, my deadline's coming up. I might as well just try this NFL thing, make the NFL make a ruling.
Well, that's just it, right? And that's all I think he's doing is keeping all his options open, because the college could still deny him from playing, because I think each conference should have the right to say, hey, we're going to enforce these rules, even though the NCAA isn't, and they should, but they're just not getting the backing from the courts, so they should try theirs. But like I said last time we talked about this guy, the easiest way is the NFL just to be like, if you've ever bet on the foot of football while playing football, I don't care what division you were in, what level you're in, you just cannot enter the NFL draft, and you are banned from playing in the NFL for a lifetime. That would stop all these sorts of bets.
Well, absolutely. Because especially, like, we just talked about a guy who retired because he just wanted to prove he could get there. Well, if that's your only goal, you can't have people sitting there gambling on it. And like I said, one of the big admissions of guilt for me was that he was having other people place bets for him. Like if you're doing that, you know you're doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, but I
It's just-
think there's lots of players in the NFL that probably do that too. Why get yourself
maybe
in
it's
trouble if you don't have to, right?
Right, exactly. So it'll be interesting. That being said, do you know the supplemental draft process? Because it is kind of interesting.
It's been a long time since I'd probably need a refresher.
All right. So to start with, it's more like an auction, but you have a lottery, and the lowest team, so the teams with I think it's 6 wins or less, go in one pool, 7 to 10 go in one pool, and then 10 and above go in another pool. So it's all weighted. So the first 15 picks go to the worst teams, but it's set up in a random order. And then when you get that pick, that means that you get to decide, okay, well, I'm willing to give a 2027 second round pick to get Sorsby. Well, then you're giving up your 27 draft pick to get him. But it's an auction. So if you don't think anybody else is going to give a second, you could give a third, and maybe you get him for a third, but you're giving up your 27 draft pick for this player. And there's not even one every year because it's mostly for players that have questionable eligibility, with the NCAA. So like Josh Gordon was one that stood out as a supplemental draft pick. But again, it was the Browns that took him, and then we got one awesome season of him, and then he just couldn't stay on the field because of marijuana.
Yeah, he's another one that would be interesting nowadays, right? Like with how marijuana is, like fuck, leave the guy alone. He's just fucking fixing his body. And it's not like it's slowing him down. He had one of the best fucking wide receiver seasons ever.
Yeah, it was like 1,400 yards in 12 games.
Browns.
Right. Derek Anderson.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like, when you think about this too and all that, who do you think would even put in for Sorsby? Because I don't like the Browns to me are the obvious choice, but I think they would be completely stupid to bring him into that quarterback room with a new head coach. You've got so many questions around Shedeur Sanders. You got the media with Deshaun Watson, and Dylan Gabriel and the number thing. There's just too much chaos right now.
Right. You've already got 4 on the roster. So then you start looking, do the Cardinals do that with what's going on with Brissett? But they just drafted Beck in the 4th. So you really want to see him first, I would think. And then the Jets with Klubnik, but you just spent a 4th on Klubnik. Are you willing to give your next 4th round pick for a guy that might not even be better than what you just drafted? Because the other thing with
if I'm the Jets or the Cardinals, I think I'd do it. I wouldn't give up my 4th, but maybe put in for a 5th. If you get them, you get them, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just
like people are making a big deal about this to me, but I don't see teams clamoring to go get Sorsby.
Well, I think it's one of those situations where fantasy guys like him better than NFL teams, because the other thing to look at is if you look at his game logs, anytime he had a tough matchup, that's when he struggled. Like he started with that incredible season of, it was close to 3,000 yards already with 27 touchdowns, 1 interception. But his last 4 games, he went 0-4 with 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So like he ended not well. Maybe that's because that's when they knew the gambling stuff was coming out. We said that Cincinnati was notified in 2024. Maybe that's what it was. Who knows? It's just, I don't think it's worth the risk. And especially when we talk about the draft class that we have coming up in 27, there's also the fact that look at the media frenzy this is going to bring in. Do you think he can even handle the New York media at this point if he were to land somewhere like the Jets?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point about New York. What I think too is like people are making such a big deal about this, but we are in such a time where we've never had so many QBs that could possibly, you could develop, you could work with or whatever. So I think that's going to throw him down where teams just aren't going to care.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I think maybe somebody tries to put a 3rd out there, but I don't see what team would do it, especially with the class coming up. And do you want the headache that comes with it? Because you also don't know, like, is he actually rehabilitated or is this just a ploy and it's still there? And now you got to worry about that happening when he's on your NFL roster.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
He'll send it the blackball letter too, right? Like he does. Nobody draft this guy in the supplementary draft. And then that brings the media coverage to the NFL for more free advertising and all that sort of stuff. I can see it.
Or is that something that the NFL takes that approach where they're like, okay, we don't have to make a ruling, but we just will tell teams not to draft him. So you can apply, but we're not going to let you come. And they just don't actually put the policy on paper, which would be weird to me because I think it looks better if you actually just enforce it and say, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, but it's more of a punch in the balls to him if they just don't draft him at all because he thinks he's going to get to play. And then because he's committed to the supplementary draft, he wouldn't be able to go into the NCAA. And that's why I think it's a backdoor deal between Goodell and the NCAA. And they're probably like, let's just handle it this way. Then he can't play for you and he won't play for us. And nobody can pick him up until next year.
Right. That's just where I always lean transparency. Transparency is the best policy. And I think if some of these institutions started doing that more often, they'd start to gain some of that trust back that they've lost. But, they're probably thinking about that bottom line anyway. So,
all right. Well, we also had some sad news. Alden Smith, who was drafted by the 49ers, I think 5th or 6th overall, passed away, 35 years old, something like that, 34?
36.
Yeah.
Same age as me.
Just craziness. So sad to see this guy. He was like, for the 49ers, he was getting so many penalties when he came in because you couldn't celebrate. It was the no fun league.
Mm-hmm.
He got 6 sacks in 2 games. Like he was like starting to run to the bench because he used to take off his helmet, so he'd run to the bench so he could take off his helmet to celebrate how he wanted and not get fined. And then he's
one of those guys. Sorry, that ended up getting a bad reputation publicly for stuff like that, and then completely turned around his image. Like out of the league, he was all about charity and helping people around the league. From everything I was reading about him.
Yeah, and his family is sending his brain off to see if it has CTE, which will be interesting because even during his playing time, he's the one that, if you remember, his neighbor parked a foot out of his driveway and blocking his driveway, and
he flipped it, right?
Before. Well, he'd got in his truck and smashed it to get it out of the fucking way. Like he's done a lot of nutty stuff, so I would like to see how this brain thing comes out, just to be like, it makes sense to me. He did a lot of messed up stuff while he was in the NFL. Like whether he's misunderstood or what, like who knows? But that'll give us some answers.
Yeah, hopefully we can learn some from it.
We also have some sign-ins here. The Dolphins have extended Aaron Brewer. They gave him quite a bit of money.
Hey, they're center, right?
Yep. No, he's a linebacker.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was thinking center.
He's getting like $10 million a year.
Well, they need players. They need some veterans. That team is very young.
Well, then we got the Eagles have signed AJ Epinesa. I didn't see what his contract was, but that's a good little pickup there. Probably just a depth piece, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe that's also one of those things like, hey, let's get somebody in the building that we like. That's a veteran presence because it's going to be harder and harder to keep this defense together, like we've talked about before.
Yeah, and he's the one of the latest bloomers I've ever seen blossom in the NFL.
Oh, for sure. And I think part of it, too, was just the injuries in front of him in Buffalo. Like, they needed him to step up, and he did.
Yeah.
So, nice little fit there.
Hopefully he got himself a big payday, but I didn't see the money because he deserves it. And then the Jets have extended their center. I think I wrote? Oh, no, here it is. Joe Tipman, 4 years, $62 million.
Okay, maybe that's who I was thinking of. That's a big payday for that center. And
it's huge.
Hopefully
again,
good for
who they going to pay, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you got to hit the minimum salary cap.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to love, too. Have you seen this? Like, maybe it's just an X and media, like, podcast world freak out of people talking about how Aaron Glenn is talking about how he's going to have that 3-headed committee in the backfield.
Oh,
and everybody's like, oh, yeah, he's going to do that. Man, if everybody remembers, he said that last year, too. And in the first 3 games before Braylon Allen got hurt, Isaiah Davis had 3 carries. Or 3 touches in 3 games. Like, that's not a 3-headed thing. Stop it.
No.
Coaches say dumb stuff.
Brees Hall off the field. Just fucking leave.
Yeah, exactly.
There because he's the one that opens up your wide receivers. Nobody else cares about your other 2. If you got short yardage work, then you put Braylon Allen in. That's how I would do it.
And that realistically, that's probably what's going to happen. So
we got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have a new deal.
Yeah, that crazy.
Yeah, I got it up here. It's like $504.75 million, which is just insane.
Just ridiculous. That's $239 million more on his deal in like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, $64 million per year.
Just really crazy. Insane. How do you put a team around that? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see, right? And then we got the Carolina Panthers have given Jalen Coker a 3-year extension worth $35 million, and with incentives can go up to 41, which is a great for Jalen Coker, who was an undrafted free agent coming out of college.
Oh, yeah. And it's awesome, and he has shown flashes. I mean, it was a playoff game, right? 8 for 157 and a touchdown or something crazy.
Yep.
Like he's had flashes, and this is the first offseason that he's been healthy so far. Because if you remember last year, I think it was a dislocated shoulder or something in the preseason, so he missed all of training camp and the first few games of the season. So good for him, man. That's awesome to see undrafted guys get that kind of money.
Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be him and Dat working that
Mm-hmm.
wide receiver room. Answers have
Yeah,
been
and they
given
drafted,
to us.
they drafted Brazil too, right?
Yep. But he'll be
So-
competing with Leggett for that third role.
Yeah.
And then we have Jonathan Cooper from the Denver Broncos being more fucking stupid and got arrested for a second time. So I know we talked about him last time getting arrested for domestic violence. So after he got out of jail, basically he went and knocked on his ex-girlfriend's door for 10 straight minutes until the cops came.
Just dumb, man. I don't
Which is
understand.
a breach of the conditions of being released in the first place.
Right. And wasn't the whole thing that like there was a restraining order? So like, why are you going back there?
Yep. Just fucking
man.
stupid. And then the Broncos have now excused him from camp. So he's not even allowed to come and he doesn't get any fines or anything. He's just been excused. You don't have to come.
Yeah, I don't blame them. And their legal team is probably trying to find a way to say like, okay, well, is there any kind of penalty or what's going to happen if we release him? Or maybe they're trying to find out if they get a supplemental pick. How does that work?
Oh,
Like,
I think you just lose, right? Because I don't see why you would get a supplemental pick. The guy screwed up. You drafted the wrong guy. Too bad, too sad.
Well, I'm thinking, you know how they award supplemental picks if you have somebody that goes and signs and makes money on another team. That's how you get a draft pick. I'm not like the supplemental draft we have coming up, but how the NFL does their supplemental picks.
Yeah, I think they would have to drop him and another team sign him in order for that to come. But if they just hold him on the team,
Well,
nothing happens.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I wonder if they're asking the NFL, hey, if we drop him and somebody else signs him, do we get a pick? If not, we're just letting him go.
Yeah.
You know
Who knows?
So,
let's see here. NFL has also closed the case on Stephon Diggs, so expect him to be signed soon with that legality all behind him.
yeah, it sounds like no suspension coming. So,
No,
interesting
there's
because
none at all.
yeah, wasn't there white powder and stuff in the video? Or
Yep.
no, this is the domestic violence one.
That was the pink powder, wasn't it? Because it was
That-
a different
yeah, maybe
color,
that's what
so
it
it
was.
more pure. But
Yeah.
whatever, you got to prove it, right? That bag's long
Right.
gone, so unless you have the residue in the baggie, nothing much you could do. Henry Ruggs went up for parole. I know a lot of people in fantasy were picking him up there because they thought he was going to be released. He was denied parole, so he will not be getting out.
Yeah, and that's interesting, especially in today's world, because it seems like a lot of people are granted parole. So what is he doing that he's not granted that?
Oh, exactly. And then we got Rashid Rice. Got out of jail last night. Managed to avoid all media, though. Hey, you're going to have to face that at camp at some point.
Right. You might as well get it over with. But, I mean, I don't blame him for wanting to dodge it. Because what'd he go in with, too? Because that's all you got coming out, right?
Yep,
Maybe he
pretty
looked
much.
ridiculous. Who knows?
But that's what we got for the news. Now that you got the grapes, go make the wine.
Bell time. Let's get into it. The league that the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has things to do with. United Football League.
Hey, welcome to the last segment of the UFL that we're going to do, and we have a champion. But before we get to that, we've got some awards that we're giving out. So let's just move Alex over here. I forgot to say this guy was signed. Major Burns from the Gamblers to the Miami Dolphins, the safety. So we've had some players transfer over. Hakeem Butler was another one. He was signed by the Broncos.
Man, the Broncos just want all the running backs and receivers, don't they?
And there was a couple other guys that were signed. I just forgot to write their names down. We got a coach of the year, which goes to the Orlando Storms, Anthony Beck. Well deserved. Had the great season.
Yeah, absolutely.
There. And then we got the MVP, also goes to the Orlando Storm, and Jack Plummer, who had a pretty decent year for his first year starting in the UFL.
Yeah, that was their quarterback. Led to an 8-2 season, number 1 overall seed. I know the season ended disappointing, but you got to be happy with the season you just put together.
Oh, for sure. But we can get to the actual game here. So what we had is the DC Defenders going against the Louisville Kings. DC Defenders are the defending champs. They lost 27-20. And this game was defensive and wild, man. Like,
Oh yeah, and
it was an odd game, but DC was up after the first two, 16-7 at halftime.
mhm.
They had two first quarter fumbles, which were huge, which catch Louisville in it because the defenders were dominating the first half of this game. And then they went into halftime, and the Kings did some coaching adjustments and just didn't look back. But for the DC, E.G. Perry had 50 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. Bean was actually pulled for him to come in, and he was 3 for 8 and 19 yards at the time.
Yeah, he got hurt, and it was early in the second half, I think, that he got hurt, and that was when the quarterback switch happened. And in that third quarter, it was only, I think, 2 field goals that Louisville put up. So it was still 16 to, what was it, 13 at that point. So the fourth quarter is when Louisville really took off, and it's because they got Ian Wheeler going, and James Robinson even scored a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, James Robinson was good. He had 69 yards and a touchdown. He had the bulk of the carries. Ian Wheeler only had about 10 of them, but he went for 81 yards and a touchdown, his longest one being 44 yards, which was a huge one that he ran to the outside on the left.
Yeah, Ian Wheeler, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on a practice squad somewhere, because this playoff for him was nuts. It was 17 carries for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Certainly helped Louisville get to where they were going.
Oh, yeah. And they even earned him the MVP of the United Bowl, Ian Wheeler from the Louisville Kings. So, yeah, for sure he's going to get a shot, at least through training camp, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Why not? Especially with the way these teams need camp bodies, and all it takes is one injury, give him an opportunity, he breaks off one of those 44-yard runs, and hey, we might have a guy.
Do you remember who had him originally in the NFL? I know he was there for one season, didn't make a team, though.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know who it was?
No, I can't remember. I was hoping that you would. But
no, trying to blank on
it
that
was
one.
a great season in the UFL. I know me and Alex enjoy watching it, and hope you guys do too. We'll see you next year, UFL.
Brighter light.
All right, we are into brighter light. So for you, Alex, I've got you in a startup. First and second round, I'm going to say in the first round you went Gibbs. Second round you went CeeDee Lamb. You're the back half. You're between 9 and the 12. So you're in the back half of the picks. This is coming up for the third round, and you have a choice.
Okay.
So here's what we got. You can go quarterback with Dak Prescott or Jordan Love, or do you continue on your no QB philosophy and you can go Trey McBride, and also out there the top 2 wide receivers would be Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate.
And this is Superflex?
Yeah.
Whew. So I'm tempted to go Dak with that CD stack because that's just one of the ways that I play. But I'm not looking McBride. What's that?
I would say that would be the only time I think Dak, because I did, like, as soon as I wrote Lamb up there, I'm like, oh, I kind of like Dak at this pick.
Yeah, and it's especially with George Pickens coming out saying that he's going to play under the franchise tag this year. I think if he proves that like he can get his head in the game for the whole season and does even part of what he did last year, I think they bring him to that extension. So talking through it, I do think I'm leaning Dak here. I'm not interested in McBride in the third. It's just too much of a risk, I think, because we only saw the touchdowns one year. I think part of that was their defense was so bad. I don't think it could be that bad again. So I think that's where I'm going here. I would think about Egbuka and just lock in those high-end receivers. But I think locking in Dak there also means that you're competitive this season. And I would rather be competitive than in the startup immediately go, all right, I'm already looking at next year or the year after. It's more fun to win.
Yep, and that Lamb pick changes everything, because if Lamb wasn't the pick, and like, I don't know, say you put somebody else there, say you take Puka instead,
yeah,
then I think I'm going one of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I would agree.
Probably
Tate or Egbuka, either one I'd be okay with. I don't think you can go wrong either way because I think they're both going to have good seasons this year. And
Yeah.
with Ekbuka, at least you've seen it. You might be worried because his season ended that way. But if you flip it and he starts slow and finishes the way he started, you're a lot more optimistic about it. So,
Yeah, and in Superflex,
Lots of good options
that's how
there.
fast your quarterbacks will disappear.
yeah, absolutely. And
All
with
right.
Dak, you know he's going to be there at least the next few years. So,
Yep. All right, we can move on to yours now.
all right. So for you, I've got 2 running backs, and they're both ones that coming out of the draft process we were kind of mediocre on. Price, I still kind of feel that way. So we're talking Jadarian Price versus Bayshell Tuten with Jacksonville, and the love that everybody has for Liam Cohen and somebody out of that backfield.
Well, if you want to know who's going to come out of the Jaguars backfield, it's going to be Chris Rodriguez.
He's dealing with an injury right now too. Does that change anything for you?
Nothing at all. Chris
Okay.
Rodriguez was the guy that Liam Cohen recruited to come and run his offense in college to be the main running back. So he already knows the system. He's already trusted by Cohen. Tuten, I think, is going to be the spell guy with that speed. It'll be a nice little change of pace. Jarius Price, to me, has a door open with Charbonnet going to be slow coming back from that injury because he injured his knee so late in the season. So I got to go Price here just because I like the situation better. And I think Chris Rodriguez is the guy to own it for the Jaguars right now.
That makes sense. I mean, you know how the summers are in dynasty leagues too. It's any bit of news. Like, does this matter? Does it not matter? What is it? So
that's why you got to learn to take advantage of that when the news comes in. Put the guy on the block. You might get something you weren't expecting that you just got to take, right?
right. Now, interestingly enough, those 2 running backs I have sandwiched between 2 other receivers. So I'm curious if the receivers are somebody you'd be more interested than either. And it's Michael Wilson and Josh Downs that are between. These 2 running backs are between those 2.
Josh Downs, no. Wouldn't even think of him.
You don't buy the hype that he's going to be playing outside this year?
No. He's too small. He's like 5'9".
Yeah. 5'8".
Yeah, like, come on.
Yep.
Like, that's just asking for, like, and they really have nobody else. So I think they're going to try it. I just don't think it works out. Michael Wilson, I do like there, but if Jacoby's not there, I think the safe pick right now is Price. And if Jacoby comes, then I would probably go Michael Wilson.
That's kind of where I'm at too. And
otherwise, you're counting on Carson Beck.
right, and or Gardner Minshew, and he's fun. But
Gardner, I like Gardner.
Yeah, he's fun, but I don't think you want him for the whole season.
Michael Wilson, I forgot about Gardner. Gardner chucks the ball.
Right. He does chuck the ball. He's that gunslinger too. Not afraid to turn it over, and if he does, he doesn't care. Kind of that Jameis mentality.
Well, but that's what we got for Brighter Light. If there's anybody you'd like us to compare, let us know in the comments.
Fantasy Light.
All right, we are into Fantasy Light, and today we are talking AFC North. So let's look at this. We'll start with the Browns. I'll call out my list here because mine seem to be in front of yours today. So my fantasy thoughts, my must-have, I only got Harold Fannin Jr. I think he's really the only one you could count on that could probably get into the top 10 of his position. I don't know if anybody else can. I'm warm on Shedeur Sanders, Quayshawn Judkins, and David Boston. Judkins, I just want to see him come back from his knee injury. Still one of my favorite running backs. Boston, I think, is going to work out all right as a second guy there. I don't think he's going to be the main guy, but I think you can count on him as like YR3, YR4, at least spot duty at the very least. I'm cold on Jerry Jeudy and Deshaun Watson. Don't want any part of any of those guys. And then my sleeper is KC Concepcion. And by sleeper, I think he's going to be in YR2 conversation overall in the league.
Yeah, we'll get to my list, I'm sure, but I like KC too. And with Boston, he was the one getting all the minicamp buzz. Now, I don't know how much you can really trust Cleveland media talking about Ty Simpson should go too. And Watson is outshining Shedeur. Excuse me. If that's true, I think that says more about Shedeur than it does Watson, because we've seen enough of Watson over the last few seasons to know I don't think he's got it.
Well, and it's not like he's outperforming him by a lot.
Well, that and like at the time they're in shorts and t-shirts, right? They're not even in pads yet.
I'm just trying to remember the numbers when I saw them. I think Watson was 11 for 14 with a touchdown, no interceptions. and Shador was 8 for 10 with no interceptions and no touchdowns
Right.
either. But Shador's passes were shorter in the play when he was out there, and Watson was throwing more deep.
Which is something that Shador also put on film last year. I think his yards per attempt was like 6 yards or something crazy. It was really shallow. So,
all right. Well, we'll call up your list here. So for you, your must-haves are Quayshawn Judkins, Harold Fannin Jr., your warm on KCC and David Boston, cold on Corey Tillman and Jerry Jeudy, and your sleepers are Sampson and Shador.
yeah, Sampson with it. I think Shador is going to win the job. That's why I have him as a sleeper. And with Sampson, I think that he's going to be in there a bit as a change of pace, and they're going to throw it to him instead of Judkins. And if Shador is going to throw it short, that means Sampson's going to do well. And KC is a guy that I'm warm on because I think they are going to move him all over the field. I don't think he's just going to be in that one spot in the slot. Just pepper him with like that Josh Downs season of 100 targets, and they're all within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. I think he's more talented
Sampson
than that.
on there because he could possibly steal the job from Judkins, because Judkins is going to start the pup list. I'm sure of it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, then
I'll
we
be
might
shocked
have
if
to
he's
talk
available
trade.
week 1.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. Is I think that his recovery's been a little cleaner, and I thought he was on the field already, so I could be wrong.
Is he? I haven't seen it. If he is, he's probably just jogging, right? Like, who's that one there?
Well, Charbonnet, he was doing high knees for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it was, so obviously he's going to be back.
Tank Dell's running.
Oh, yeah.
Practice and dressed, but they're not putting them through routes or anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Bengals. So for the Bengals, one of the fantasy darlings out there with everything that they've got on offense. My must is only Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. No way I'm passing those up if either one of them are on the board. If both are on the board, I guess it depends if I'm in a super flex or not and what I want to do with my team. I'm warm on T. Higgins and Chase Brown. I'm cold on that Iolvaz or whatever.
Yoshivas.
Yeah, that guy. And my sleepers are Eric All and Colby Young.
Oh, back on Eric All after the ACL, right?
Yeah, we'll see, man.
Right.
Like, it's very rare people can come back from 2 of those, but and of all the tight ends on that team, I like him the best. So I'm like, if he can come back at all from his injury, I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Bengals, I think, were one of the easier teams to do also because there's not a lot of lukewarm in there. It's either you love them or no, don't touch them.
Yeah, well, and that's why you got your must. You got all 4 of them there: Burrows, Chase, Higgins, and Brown. No warm. Cold on Jasecki. You also like Colby Young as a sleeper and Jack Endies.
Yeah, and so for me, Endry's is a tight end that I like. He's young, he's athletic. He had a good season at Texas, and I just don't think that Joe Burrow's had a tight end that he's liked enough. Gesicki, we've seen it with enough teams now. He's been passed around the league. Like, I don't know why this season would be different, and he's starting to get hype now, which is interesting. Maybe I'll throw a little cold water on it. And with Colby Young, it's that size-speed combo. I think he's what they've been looking for from someone like Yoshivas, where Yoshivas can kind of give you the deep stuff, but he's not very big.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I think. So I think he'll carve out a little bit of a role. But with Jasecki, he was doing all right there. Both the end of the last 2 years, he's kind of had a rapport with Burrows, but the Bengals just don't use the tight end position that much with Burrows. He likes that outside big play. So it doesn't matter who the tight end is. I don't think they'll ever be a top 10.
Well, and that's the difference too, is if you're going to throw to the middle of the field in that short area, you've also got Chase Brown, who's proved to be very good at that. So are you going to give it to Chase Brown and let him be explosive with it, or are you going to give it to Gesicki and let him be explosive if he can even be that anymore?
Yeah, and then use Gesicki in the red zone when you need that big body.
Exactly. And
Yep. All right, we can move on to the Ravens. So for the Ravens, I've only got Lamar Jackson as my must. I'm warm on Zay Flowers. But even with saying that he's warm, he's not a guy I'm going to draft if he's on the board. Like, I'm just not thinking about him. And
I know. Sorry, just real quick, Flowers, I know is a guy you've been lower on.
Yeah.
Basically,
he's not my type of wide receiver, right? Like,
right.
I'm cold on Bateman. I'm throwing in the towel. Derrick Henry, I don't want to be holding the bag. Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane, I've got both of them on here. People are high on them in these rookie drafts, but until I see something with these passing game for the Ravens to support at least 2 pass catchers with one of them not being a tight end, then that's where they're going to be. And my sleeper is Matt Hibner.
Oh, so okay. So you think he'll just take over from Andrews right away?
Not right away, but I do think he has that Isaiah Likely role that he'll shine in, and then it'll slowly start weeding out Andrews because you got a new coaching staff, right? It's not his guy. And I think Andrews is going to be traded before the trade deadline.
Well, and Andrews was also, when he took over, that's how it was for him too. Because if you remember that draft, Hayden Hurst was taken first.
Yep.
And he got the bulk of the opportunity until Andrews, I think it was the last 4 games maybe. And then it was just his. So I could see it. My thing with the Ravens too is just that I think they are going to change their style. Part of that being that they drafted 2 receivers. I believe they signed one too, if I remember right. And they let Likely walk. They drafted a tight end. But I just think the Ravens, even though they've always been run first, I think they're kind of signaling, hey, we're going to try to change this. If everybody else is going to run, we're going to be the opposite.
Yeah, we'll see. So for you got Lamar Jackson's must, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, no Warm, Mark Andrews as a cold, and Elijah Surratt as your sleeper.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just this is one of those offenses. Like, take your shot if you want. I'll take them at the right price, but there's no one that I really feel like I necessarily want to target in the later rounds, I guess is one way to put it.
Yep, I'll fold the same way. All right, we can move on to the Steelers. We'll start with your list since it's your team. You've got no must. You are warm on Michael Pittman, Rico Dowdle, DK Metcalf, and Jalen Warren. Cold on Aaron Rodgers, and your sleepers, Washington, Bernard, and Johnson.
Yeah, so Caleb Johnson just brings something different than Dowdle and Jalen Warren. I think with Dowdle coming in, I'm trying to remember, he didn't play with Rodgers. So I'm not sure why everybody's assuming he's going to get it. That's the McCarthy thing, I'm sure. But you don't bring back Rodgers if you're just going to tell him how shit's going to be for the entire last season of his career, right? So that's why I think Warren could be the end up being the guy. And my reason for being cold on Rodgers but warm on the receivers is I don't think the receivers are going to be consistent every week, but you're going to have startable weeks. And with Rodgers, it's one of those things that I don't know if he throws the ball deep enough that you're going to have that big 1,200-yard season from any one of these guys.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
So,
even the run game's kind of a little bit weird too. So for me, my must, I've got Rico Dowdle and DK Metcalf. I just think Dowdle's the best back on that team. And I think he's the one that Rodgers is going to rely on more because he's an awesome pass blocker too. And he's a little bit bigger than Warren, so he can handle it better with the defensive ends coming down. I got Pittman as my warm. I'm cold on Muth and Aaron Rodgers. Muth is still one of my favorite tight ends, but I just think one of my sleepers is Darnell Washington. I think with that contract, man, he's going to take over. He's just too big to get that ball to, especially Rodgers likes to float it over and just get it to him. And then you just can't bring him down because the guy's an offensive lineman. And then I got Giovanni Bernard as one of my sleepers as well.
Yeah, and I think we both like Bernard a lot. That means that you have DK as your favorite receiver on this team? Is that just the money, or because you think he's you think he's the best one? Good. We saw it last year. I just don't know that he matches and meshes as well with Rodgers as somebody like Michael Pittman will, or maybe Jeremy Bernard. I know he's a rookie. Rodgers doesn't love rookies, but maybe his skill set is just so different that he sees, I could just get this guy the ball. What's that?
Who do you think Aaron Rodgers, receiver-wise, worked the best with in his career?
Well, it's Devontae Adams, and I don't think that's close.
Oh, see, I would go Greg Jennings.
Well, you probably saw more of that career. I saw all of Adams with Rodgers. So, yeah, I don't remember enough of the Greg Jennings connection.
Yeah, Greg Jennings, and then Greg Jennings is a lot like DK, right? Like they're the same sort of play style, just big, physical, fast guys. Where I don't
does Rodgers have the arm to support that still, though? That's where I'm not sure he does.
You don't like. I like to call it the Chad Pennington arm. As long as he's got that, I think you could keep DK going. And I would say Rodgers can at least throw as far as Pennington.
Yeah, I would hope so. Otherwise, why are you bringing him back?
But when I look at it, because those are his 2 best wide receivers, right? You got Devontae Adams on the one side, you got Greg Jennings on the other side. DK is pretty close to what Jennings was, maybe even a little bit better. But then I go over here, I go Michael Pittman. What's his game like to Devontae Adams? Because he's not like Jennings, and I wouldn't even say he's anywhere close to Devontae Adams.
Well, yeah. I would say there's.
I wouldn't even say they're the same type of receiver. So I don't even know
Huh.
if Aaron Rodgers has had a receiver like Pittman.
Yeah.
A big friggin'
Trying to
possession
off the
body
head.
on the other side who's going to work as a wide receiver too.
Yeah, again, it's just interesting because I think you're higher on the Steelers than I am this year, which is kind of crazy. As
Yeah.
I'm sitting here in my Steelers hoodie.
I think so, which is weird because it's Mike Tomlin's gone, right? I think that's a little bit of it, but
that's a lot of it for me, and the replacement in McCarthy, and like I'm sure he's living his best life. I guess
I just think for fantasy wise, they take a jump, not so much real football, because McCarthy does like to put up points. He's just horrible.
Well, I was just gonna say one thing that he does do. This is where I think it's so interesting, and we'll really see what happens because McCarthy likes to run a fast offense. So his offenses tend to be top 10, but it's because they have more volume than most teams, and more volume means more opportunity. You get the gist. But Aaron Rodgers tends to have one of the 3 or 4 slowest teams because he loves to diagnose that defense before the play, right? So you have two things that don't mesh. You have the slowest quarterback with one of the faster coaches. What's going to happen here? Are you just middle of the road at everything?
Well, it's going to be whatever Aaron Rodgers wants, just like it was in Green Bay that got McCarthy fired.
Yeah.
Like I just that's the only thing I don't get. The Steelers did was bringing in McCarthy and then going, you know what? That last season in Green Bay was so good that those two guys, we should get them back together. Let's get the party back together and get going.
Well,
no,
to be fair, that was an NFC Championship game collapse, right? Or was it the divisional round?
I think it was divisional.
Okay,
that's the one
Never
that
mind
San Fran only threw the ball 4 times. Because
that's right. Because okay, you're right. Because I was going to say, if that was the NFC Championship round, then that's farther than the Steelers have made it in a while. So we would probably take that
twice with the friggin' Packers. McCarthy did, and then when he was with the Cowboys, he did it twice again because he had Dax running on those plays.
Yeah, that was when he had. Just
how you see this shit in his last 4 years between Green Bay and the Cowboys, and go, yeah, we need to bring that guy in here for playoff football with the Steelers, and go, it's a good idea. No, I just think it's good for fantasy. That's all.
It's interesting because this is a take that I'm going with the Steelers that I want to see at first, where a lot of times in fantasy, like you do try to project. I don't have any feel for what this offense is going to be. It doesn't look like what your typical Steelers is. The hire doesn't match your typical Steelers. It feels weird.
Here's what I'm going off of.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy, Big Mike, grew up in Pittsburgh. He grew up a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
He grew up liking that play action, throw it down the field every now and then, control the ball with the run, strong defense. Now you're in Pittsburgh. You grew up in fucking Pittsburgh. You know what Pittsburgh football is, and you know it doesn't gel with your team. So does the management there. At some point, they had to have that talk before he was hired. Like, we don't want to get away from Steelers ball. Can you coach Steelers ball? And I think he said, yes, I love Steelers ball. So I don't think anything changes with how Steelers runs things. It'll just be plays that are designed by Mike McCarthy instead of somebody else.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And to be fair, like I like the potential of a McCarthy offense over anything we've seen the last few years in Pittsburgh.
Better than
Matt Canada and Arthur Smith. Right. So on that note, I do think that's better. And if we meet in the middle and we're not the slowest team or the fastest team, and we're just, say, dead center 15-16 as far as pace of play and total plays, if our defense is good enough, which I believe it can be, that is recipe for a good season. So I can see the path. I just don't have a good enough of a feel of how that's going to happen.
Yeah, and anyone that says I do, they better be working for the team or you're just lying, right? But
yep, exactly.
That's what we got for our fantasy on the AFC North Thoughts.
Fantasy IDP.
All right, we are into Fantasy IDP, and today we will be giving you our top 10 IDP players for the defensive end position play. We'll start with Alex's list here. Here's his top 5. He's got Aiden Hutchinson from the Lions, Will Anderson from the Texans, Nick Benito from the Broncos, Jarrett Burst from the Browns, and Myles Garrett from the Rams.
Yep. So this part of that age is just coming in to play, and Myles Garrett, I still think you're going to get at least 2 years out of him, probably 3. But with where Verse is to this point of his career, and now getting, sounds crazy to say, but some good coaching in Cleveland, we'll see what happens.
And then you finish off your list with Max Crosby for the Raiders, Brian Burns from the Giants, TJ Watt from the Steelers, Abdul Carter for the Giants, and Tuten from the Colts.
Yeah, Latu finished the season really strong. So a lot of that is also coming into, can he take that next step? And with these edge guys, that's what you want, is those guys that are getting after the quarterback.
Oh, for sure you do. Then they're hard to get in fantasy. We'll look at my list here. So for me, I've got Myles Garrett as my number 1 guy. I've more or less looked at these more as like for the season coming up point wise. I don't really look long term on my IDP players because it changes so fast. So I want those top guys for the season. So that's why I got Myles Garrett as my top guy. Finally, on a team with an offense, so he can be rested. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. My second is actually the same as yours. I got Will Anderson from the Texans. I think he's going to have a great year, and everything coming out of that camp right now is he's been unstoppable. You've got Ryan saying that he's going to have to sit him down just so other people can get some practice in because he's wrecking practice.
It's just crazy.
And he's hitting that point, right, where he should hit his stride for the NFL. So I think he's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
Have an awesome year.
And they also got him some help on that D-line, right? Was it Caden McDonald, but didn't they also go that way in the first round too? Caleb Banks?
Yep.
I think it was. Yeah.
No, Banks went to the Vikings.
That's right.
But they did draft somebody. I forget who it is. Where did I leave out there? Oh, yeah. So my third is Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions, followed by Brian Burns from the Giants, Max Crosby from the Raiders. I think he does get traded at some point. I don't know why they would keep him there with how they're rebuilding. 6, I got Nick Bosa. 7 is the same as you, TJ Watt. 8 is Nick Benito. 9 is Jarrett Verse. And 10 is Brian Young from the Rams.
Young is the one that just missed my list. But he was one that I looked at for that end there. One of the reasons I went Abdul Carter is because they just added Arvell Reese that could also help take some pressure off of him. Just like with Willie Anderson, if you could take a little bit of pressure off him, then I think that can help him be even better. Or like you're saying with Myles Garrett, get him some rest. Let's see if he could be fresh longer in the game because he doesn't have to play as many snaps. Well, that could be good too. So is it fair to say when you're making your top 10, even your dynasty, they're the same as your redraft rankings, where with IDP, you're just looking at them as this upcoming season, that's it?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
I don't even put the dynasty factor in unless it's like a guy like Jared Verse, right? Like I'll give him a bump up just because he's a guy I know I could have for years to come, and I think he's going to be productive for years. But those guys are hard to find. That you can get a guy that's like top at the defense, especially at the defensive end position, for a good solid 10 years. Normally they get like 2 or 3 years and teams figure them out, and then they go to the next guy, right? Or they're just become that complementary player to somebody else that they draft. It's hard to maintain. So Brian Burns, Myles Garrett, stuff they're doing, Max Crosby, like there's not many guys like that.
That's very true. That's why you get a haul like a 27 first, 28 second and third for, or with Jared Verse for Myles Garrett. They're hard to get.
For sure. But that's our top 10 defensive ends players for the season.
Old Timer Spotlight. Let's dive into the past and see who we can come up with and talk about their game.
All right, welcome to Old Timer Spotlight, and today I've got a guy we talked about earlier, if you were paying attention in the intro, Dick Lebeau.
Oh, yeah.
So Dick Lebeau played for the Lions. He was actually, I forget who it was I talked about last time. I remember it was a great player into the Hall of Fame, and he didn't even play a game for the Browns. He was released and picked up. Well, Dick Lebeau was drafted in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. Didn't even make it past training camp. They let him go, and he signed as an undrafted free agent with the Lions. And then what did he do with the Lions? He went on to become a Hall of Famer in 2010, 3-time Pro Bowler. 14-year career, 62 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 9 fumble recoveries, 1 fumble recovery touchdown, 1.5 safeties, and he holds the Iron Man record for most games played at the defensive back position at 171.
Which is just crazy. And then he went on to be a stud as a defensive coordinator also. He's just legend.
And he didn't even take a break, man. Like the season that he retired after 14 years with the Lions, the next season he was coaching with the Bengals.
Yep.
So,
he was the defensive coordinator when the Steelers won one of their Super Bowls under Tomlin.
Yep. He's one of the greatest defensive minds in the game right now, I'd say, too.
For sure.
But,
awesome coach. He was certainly one to go back and take some looks at that tape, watch it. Just awesome in the secondary, all over the place, making plays.
Great guy. All right, we can move on to your guy. You've got Tommy Nobis.
Yeah, so nicknamed Mr. Falcon, and that is because he was the first ever pick of the Atlanta Falcons when they became an expansion franchise. A little bit undernoticed and underappreciated because his teams were so bad, but he was the thing that held that defense together, and the defense wasn't always the issue there in Atlanta. A lot of times they didn't have a quarterback until Matt Ryan, right?
Yeah. Who'd they have they went to the Super Bowl with the Dirty Bird, Jamal Anderson?
Shoot, who was that? I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
It was right before Michael Vick, wasn't it?
Yeah, Vic wasn't there yet.
Was it Dilfer?
Was it?
Or was he there with somebody else?
I have to look that up when we get off air.
And I really don't remember. Drawing such a blank on that.
But yeah, this guy looked mean.
Oh yeah, and he was right in the middle of the defense, middle linebacker, wore the green dot, captain of the defense, captain of the team. And he's just somebody that could.
1966 Rookie of the Year. He's got 5 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. He's on the 1960 All Hall of Fame team, but not inducted into the Hall of Fame as himself yet. 12 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 1 forced fumble, 13 fumble recoveries, 9.5 sacks over 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years. And like I said, Rookie of the Year, like you just said, Rookie of the Year in that first season. He was the first pick of the franchise. Gave Atlanta fans a reason to root for the team. I'll say that.
Well, when I was looking up this guy, I'm like, how do you make the all Hall of Fame team for the 60s and not get the Hall of Fame? Well, because I think what the problem is, people nowadays don't understand that you got to go back and watch this tape to see this guy, because there's a lot of defensive stats that we have now that they didn't keep track of back then, like tackles or assisted tackles. Like that just wasn't there. So you have to see how much he was around the ball. And I think personally, that's why he's not in the Hall of Fame right now.
It just doesn't have the stats to back it up because they weren't official stats yet.
Yep. Basically. But that's 2 guys that we like to travel back in time and see what they're all about.
Sit down and talk about all the world stuff that goes on around the world under your nose. Never know where we'll end up. Come with us and we'll chase that rabbit down there all over there today.
Oh, we're on the wrong thing here. All right, welcome to Shine the Light. Today we are going to talk about biolabs. There was just a report released by the DNI.
Tulsi Gabbard.
What's her name?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
She's actually stepping down at the end of this month. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's interesting. She's dropping this now because she has less than 2 weeks left on the job. Her husband has some kind of rare bone cancer, so she's stepping away to care for him, which I think is very respectable.
Yeah, can't complain about that. Or, let's see here. Forget where I was. So she's basically released a press conference saying that she's found over 120 biolabs around the world that the United States taxpayers are paying for, 30 of which are in the Ukraine, many of which have or currently engaged in research using hazardous materials, one of which is designed to kill wheat. Why the hell would you want to design a material to kill wheat?
Yeah, there's some weird ones in there, like Ebola and smallpox and stuff like that, I think. So, not great.
Just
not great, Bob.
And then some of these biolabs too are to grow engineered meat products, all lab grown. Like I know in the States they've kind of made it so you have to declare that it's biologically grown meat, but in Canada we passed something that says it doesn't need to be. So when you go to the grocery store, you don't know if it's biologically grown lab meat or if it's real meat.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, and most of these were started under the Biden-Fossey freaking regime.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Part of this too, some of the pushback has been that some of the labs that she's talking about are ones that were already out in public eye. I think it was more that she's just consolidating it all so you could see it all in one place type of deal.
Oh,
but
okay.
One of the figures I was reading that was that it was $200 million to these labs since 2005. Well, that's also $10 million a year. That's not a lot, but I mean, that's a lot to you and I, but that's not a lot when we're talking about 100 billion and $1 trillion budgets.
To Ukraine, right?
Yeah, exactly. So not good. I think one of the other things that she wanted to bring light to, not putting words in her mouth, but the way it appears to me is that pointing out that 30 of them are in Ukraine. Well, we know that Russia is attacking Ukraine. You don't want these to be able to get out, which I think is the whole point of like, we shouldn't have these, that we can do this.
Well, it's not even get out. It's like, what if Russia decides to attack that lab and they're working on something like, say that's the lab that they're working on killing wheat and that gets out and then you kill the whole food supply for the world by accident.
Right. That's what I mean. Or Russia stealing that stuff and then now they have it. And that's a threat that we also have to worry about.
Oh, there's that part too, right? Like, yeah. So just craziness, but there is companies out there too that use these biolabs to put bugs into your food. Now, it's hard to find out which foods that all is. I forget most of them, but the one that I really remember is what do they call it? Mealworm is used to make the Oreo chocolate bar.
I hadn't heard that
because the cocoa is too expensive, and so they use that, and so I haven't even ate an Oreo since I found that out. There's all sorts of companies that are putting bugs into food and that, and then you also got, like I said, the bioengineered meat stuff. Like when I look at this, I'm like, and I look at the farms. I know we mean you've talked about it before, but man, those farms don't add up to how much beef is sold on these fast food joints alone when people are eating beef wise at home.
I don't know. Like I said, it's not an issue that I've looked into a ton, but I know that the Bible also teaches us we live in a world of abundance. So there's enough there somewhere.
Yep, for sure. That's why I got to remember, people. Question everything.
Have a good one.